In lessons 20 and 21, the last two lessons of this module, we are going to gain experience doing two-step word problems. So we've done one of these before. I introduced it in a video the other day and we covered it in class. But we're going to get a lot more practice here in the next couple of days at taking all those things we've learned in the rest of the module, all the strategies that we've learned, the properties that we've practiced, and those facts that we've been practicing. And now we're going to apply them to word problems, not only one-step word problems, but two. So let's take a look at how to do that. I've set up three problems for you that I want to walk through. They're very similar to ones that were on the problem set, and which means they're also similar to ones that you will see on the homework. So this first one says, Colin buys 4 books and a magazine at the store. Each book costs $3 and the magazine costs $5. How much money does Colin spend on the books and magazine? So as you'll see, we can't just multiply, like we can't include the magazine with the books when we're doing our multiplication, because it's not the same, it doesn't cost the same amount as each book. So we have to solve this in two parts. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to make tape diagrams for this. And I'm going to make a tape diagram first for the books. I'm going to say he has 4 books, so that means I need to divide my tape diagram into 4 equal sections, and each book is worth or costs $3. Okay, so 3, 6, 9, 12. I can tell you that this costs $12. Total thing is $12. And he also buys, I'll do it in a different color. He also buys a book, but he just buys one book. So right underneath this tape diagram, I'm going to draw another one. But in this case, it's just one section of 5, which makes the total also 5. So now what I need to do is I need to group together both of these things. I need to take the total from both the 5 and the 12 and add them up. So I take my $12 from the books plus my $5 from the magazine and add them up to get a total of $17. And again, you'd write a sentence at this point saying Colin spent a total of $17 on his books and magazine at the store. So that's one type of problem that you're going to experience here in this lesson. Let's take a look at another. And in this case, it says 4 friends are sharing 24 markers evenly. How many markers do 3 of the friends have altogether? So the first part of this first sentence, 4 friends are sharing 24 markers evenly. That's a division problem. So we have a number of different ways that we can solve that problem. I am going to use let's see, I'll use a tape diagram for this as well. We've had a lot of experience with those this module, so let's go ahead and use that. So I know the total, that's 24. And I know that I have 4 friends sharing it. So I'm going to divide this into 4 groups because there are 4 people that are sharing these markers. So my total down here is 24. And each kid, we don't know how many they're getting yet. That's our unknown, right? So I can go ahead and I could use a number of different strategies, but I'm going to count by 4s and see how many times I have to do that until I get up to 24. So 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24. I had to count 6 times, which means that each kid is going to get 6 markers. And that has solved the first part of my problem. That solved that first sentence. I found out that each kid gets 6 markers. So I'm even going to write that over here to keep track of it. Ooh, that looks like a U, not an A. Each kid gets 6 markers. I'm just going to keep track of that information over there. And I did that because 24 divided by 4 was 6. Now my second step asks me, I'll do it in a different color here, how many markers do 3 of the friends have altogether? So now I need to take the 6 markers that each kid has and multiply it by 3. So 6 times 3, 6 markers per kid, 3 kids. We want to know the total. On my tape diagram, I could actually draw that in here. I could highlight 3 of these groups together, right? And I could count by 6s. Here you go, 6, 12, 18. The total is 18. 6 times 3 is 18. Do you see how I highlighted these 3? Like we're counting those 3 kids' markers all together. So the first kid had 6, the second had 6, and the third had 6. If you count those all up, you get 6, 12, 18. So that's how we solve the second part of that problem. And then your sentence would be, 3 kids have 18 total markers. Again, reading the directions in these problems is really critical. It's really important to making sure that you're understanding what's asking you to do. Make sure you don't fall for the trap where you just answer the first part, like we've done so far in this module, and you say, oh, everybody gets 6 markers. That's a true statement, but it's not what the question's asking you. So you need to make sure you read all the way through those problems. Let's do one more. This says 3 boxes of plates are delivered to a restaurant. Each box has 6 plates inside. If 2 plates are broken, how many plates can the restaurant actually use? So let's do this. Multiplication. So we have, I'll do a number bond this time. We haven't done one of those yet today. So I don't know my total yet. This is a multiplication thing. But I have 3 boxes, which means I have 3 groups. You're going to see here in a minute, this is one of the same facts we just worked with. And I have 6 plates inside each. So I can count by 6s again, just like I did before. 6, 12, 18. I have a total of 18 plates got delivered to the restaurant. So that solves this first part, right? I have 6 plates inside of 3 boxes. I have 18 total boxes. I'm sorry, 18 total plates. But when they showed up and they opened the boxes, 2 of the plates were broken. So now I need to say, I had 3 times 6 equals 18. But now I need to take my 18 and subtract 2. These are the broken ones. These are the total that got delivered. And that's going to tell me how many I can actually use. So 18 minus 2, we can figure out as 16 actually usable, or actually use. So they can use 16 plates. That would be a really complete answer. So we did it in 2 steps. We did our multiplication part first, and then we did the subtraction part next. So that was step 1. This is step 2. And again, reading through that whole problem is really important, because up until this point, for the most part, we've just done this first line here in the problem where we would have figured out the total number of plates. Now it's asking us to go one step further, to stretch our thinking a little bit, and to do an additional piece where we then subtract from our total. Again, this is using information we already have covered in the module. None of this is new other than the fact that there's an additional step, and that's just going to require your reading directions really carefully and making sure you understand exactly what's being asked of you while you're working on the problems. So make sure you read the directions a couple of times, really get a good understanding of what it's asking you before you start working. And then when you're done, go back and read the question again and make sure, did I actually answer does my answer match? Does it make sense with what the question was asking originally? That's a really good way to make sure that you've answered exactly what you're supposed to answer. All right, guys, keep up the good work. We have one more lesson in this module, and then we will be moving on to module 2.